My name is Commander Joe Dugan, D-U-G-A-N, Evanston Police Department. I'd like to start off by introducing some of the officials here today. First off is City of Evanston Mayor Elizabeth Tisdall, to my right here. Police Chief Richard Eddington, Fire Chief Greg Kleiber, City Attorney Grant Farrar. There's also some elected officials in the audience. 3rd Ward Alderman Melissa Wynn, 5th Ward Alderman Dolores Holmes, 7th Ward Alderman Jane Grover, and 8th Ward Alderman Ann Rainey. Apologize if anybody came in I didn't see. Is anybody else here? All right, thank you. We've asked you to come here today. Your Honor, Mayor Tisdale asked you to come out today along with the other city officials to discuss, speak about the enhanced enforcement for some, related to some properties where disruptive and dangerous behavior has been identified on an ongoing basis. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Your Honor, Mayor Tisdale.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. Dealing with chronic problem properties is one part and only one part of the answer to the violence in our community. To all the people who are going to say, this will not solve all our problems, you're right, but it is a piece of the puzzle, and it's a piece we're going to solve. The police go to the same places all the time. There are homes with 76 total police activities, 55, 53, 39, 47. No one should have to live next door to places like that. The integrity of Evanston neighborhoods is critically important. Residents have a right to a peaceful, safe place to live, a safe place to raise their children. We will send the police, fire department, and property standards staff to nuisance premises with high calls for service. We have done this before, but we have not done this way. We have not combined them. We're looking at changing our ordinances to streamline the process. Screening tenants is a landlord's responsibility. If they do not do it, we will hold them responsible. Our residents have a right to crime-free neighborhoods. It's our job to help them, and we are going to do our job. Chief, would you like to explain more?
Thank you, Your Honor. The City of Evanston is starting this initiative in an effort to reduce violence. And in that reduction of violence, this is a key component that we are driven by calls for service. If you look at these numbers for each individual address, these are consuming a huge amount of public resources on a small amount of properties. Essentially, we can't be the police for landlords who make bad arrangements. And so we are looking to break that cycle by joining together all the resources of the city to address these few problem properties. We are going to tailor our efforts over the next 30 days to address these properties, and we'll be back in 30 days with an update of how successful our efforts have been. Commander Brian Henry, the problem-solving team, is here. He'll be happy to take your questions afterwards on specific issues at specific addresses. Thank you for your time today.
I placed a list of the properties in the back of the room here if anybody needed it. Also, if there's more, I could print out some more. I could also electronically email a list of all the property, of all the calls at each location if needed. Just let me know. My name is JDUGAN at cityofevanston.org. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. Now, what prompted, I know you've probably been looking at this for a while, but was there any particular event that prompted motion on this?
We, on a daily basis, we enforce ordinances and laws throughout the city and throughout properties and problem areas every day. As far as there has been a couple incidents in the recent past. There was where the neighborhoods have there's been some concern in the neighborhoods. So yes, there has been some incidents on 1800 Lake. There was a shots fired incident there a couple days ago where the subjects ran inside one of the properties on the list. And there's also a current active ongoing death investigation in the 700 block of Dodge. It is also a property on the list.
How have the owners responded to this thought process of, hey, we're holding you accountable? I mean, they always were being held accountable, but now you're kind of ratcheting that up. Are there any legal implications to this? Any other concerns?
I have not spoken to any of the property owners at this point. I don't know if Commander Henry has.
Yeah, we've spoken to a couple of the property owners. These properties we've had issues for some time. This is nothing that just is recent. This is something we've been dealing with for a while. So we'll see how all the property owners respond.
Now, with that being said, what, and maybe the city attorney can speak to this, what does the ordinance lack, or what needs to happen so that this could be acted upon? Because obviously, if you're getting 76, I thought I saw one where it said 76 calls or something like that.
Yes.
You know, shots fired, all this crazy stuff going on. But yet the property's still there, they're still rented, and it continues.
Well, with respect to the issue of the calls for service, I think that's a little bit different than a citation that may be issued to a property owner that is then subsequently adjudicated in the 2nd District over in Skokie. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to see, and essentially it's analogous to where the hot spots on a heat map, and through coordinating staff, appropriate staff, and I think reaching into the other parts of the staff, besides just police, we're looking at property standards, we're looking at health issues, we're looking at fire and life safety issues, more of a coordinated approach so that all of the service issues related to anything that's implicating a code violation in any of the city code can be addressed in one swoop. And then for purposes of litigating and adjudicating that matter to its ultimate conclusion, a judge in Skokie will have a wider panoply of information upon which to review and consider, and making a judgment with respect to whatever citations may be upheld in the court. So I think that it's the same approach that the city has used consistently over many, many years, and certainly with respect to certain properties. It's just having a more holistic approach in terms of all the possible service calls, all the possible property related or other code issues that can be addressed in one omnibus type situation.
Grant, the ordinance has been in place in its current form since 2007. How many cases have been brought under the ordinance since then, and what have been the outcomes of those?
Well, anecdotally, I can tell you that certain cases have been brought and that there have been violations established. I don't have all of that information in front of me right now. Would certainly be happy to follow up with you on that. But really, in terms of the issue of the nuisance premises ordinance, which is a subset of the discussion that we're having today, that ordinance actually has been under extensive review by the law department and also other parts of the city staff, because we have been looking at these issues and considering since 2007 what are the ways that it could benefit from some refinement, and also in different ways of looking at these properties. Certainly, you know, as the commander has just mentioned, there's ways of tracking these properties, there's ways of seeing how one service call implicates other components of the city code or other parts of the neighborhood, and tying that all together. So this really falls in line with some revisions that we were already actively studying over the balance of the last year.
Mayor, quick question for you. I know when you made your opening comments, you talked about this being one component of addressing some of the violence issues. Can you talk about what concerns you may have about it being misinterpreted, or that it is folks focusing on this as opposed to what others may deem to be more important violence issues in Evanston?
This is Evanston. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone's opinion is different. So I simply started that way by trying to let people know that yes, we are still going to be concentrating on getting jobs for young people. We are still going to be providing social services. We are still going to do all the wonderful things that we do. But we need to do more. This is something more that we need to do, and we're going to do it.
I have another, but it's off topic, I'm sorry, so I'll let anyone else answer.
Liz or
anyone else who can address this. One of the properties listed is at 1716 Ashland, and I believe that's part of the Emerson Square development. Is that property actually managed or owned by the city's partner on the NSP2 program, or how did that situation
It's
go?
1916. It's 1916.
I'm sorry, 1960, yes, 1960. Gotcha.
We don't own it, I can tell you that. I think it would be owned, yes.
It was, is it owned by Brinshaw?
Brinshaw.
The developer that was the
Would be
partner?
my guess. We have a list of who owns.
Yes, we should. We'll make sure.
Just an update on, the lockdown, what happened at the school, the shooting from the high school, is there nothing you wanna?
The lockdown.
Well, I mean, I thought didn't you have a situation at the high school?
That was after school, there was after there was a lockdown.
I just asked me to ask you. But no, thank you.
Commander, can you give us an update on the charges of that?
Yeah, there was there was 2 people taken into custody on 1800 Black Lake for that incident. One juvenile was charged with 5 felony counts. He was 16 years of age. There was a press release sent out, 5 felony counts. It was all related to handguns and related to aggravated discharge of a firearm. There was a second individual taken into custody. He was an adult, and he was charged with 2 misdemeanor violations. He was going to the Skokie courthouse. Thank you very much. This afternoon. Thanks for coming out again.